Hello to the channel. Welcome back everyone. Hope you're all well. Hope you all had a nice Christmas. Enjoyed some time with family. This is now my second attempt at recording the video. The old camera's playing up again today, so if I end up in the corner of the screen and I'm just frozen, there we go. So, we just sort of record things and get them out. So yeah, I hope you're all having a great time. Hope you've all been lucky. The EPL competition's still running as well, which is good. So competition winner won $8 in the Boxing Day games. So get that organised today. I can't pronounce his name, so I won't say it again. Been a pretty good run for us overall. This is another brilliant result. So Celtic doing the business, 1-0. Second, even with Vickers coming off, so he came off a few minutes before the clean sheet bonus hit. Buying Lewis Palmer early on, been pretty important. 100 captain, Liam Scales 100. Matt O'Reilly pretty unlucky not to get a decisive as well, but anyway, second is an absolutely fantastic result. I'm going to go through the playsharper stuff for Celtic, and then I'm going to have a look at previewing the weekend. And I have actually already picked my lineups, but we'll discuss those and can have a discussion as to why. There are things happened as we've made a wee move in the transfer market as well. So Julian Alvarez arriving, kind of really needed a sort of champion, a good champion Europe. Super rare. Tried to get Virgil van Dijk super, and because it was a short number, went for what I would regard as probably too much. But fair price, but too much in terms of what I wanted to pay. So hang on. Always something getting in the way if it's not Volvos. So, move me out of the way so that we can cancel these Jet2 holidays. Where are we going to? Palmanova? Sign me up. Sign me up. Get to adverbs. Get out of my way. Add choices. Anyway. So, Celtic lineup. Huge game this weekend. Celtic against Rangers. Expect the lineup to be pretty similar. Couple of things to point out here. Carter Vickers came off. He said he felt tight in his muscle, but Rodgers said he hadn't actually pulled it. So I'm waiting news at the press conference. I'll update this if we manage to get some news before today. Personally, I expect him to play. The only problem is the last time this happened, he was out for a couple of games. I think the Celtic were quite cautious with him. So I don't know, but I would say we'll be less cautious with him given it's a Rangers game and it's going to be really needed. Paulo Bernardo is the other sort of big choice in here. Kieran Hatate is in training and actually in the reckoning to play. I really don't see him starting, so I've got Paulo Bernardo really high. But overall, I would say that's going to be Hatate's position again soon. The rest of the team pretty much, I think, picks itself at the moment. Scale's been brilliant this season. Joe Hart. On Joe Hart, quite a few people have been asking me about what do I see him doing, etc. I'm not going to do my own car prices any favours here, but I don't see him being at Celtic next season. He looked quite upset after the Champions League game. Commentators were saying, oh, that's kind of look of a guy who realises he's not going to be playing Champions League again. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to retire or anything. He might go to the MLS, he might go to a championship in England. Like, he's capable of doing a job for teams. There's no doubt about that, but I don't see him at Celtic next season, personally. So, there we go. On to the projected stats, etc. So, obvious one here, Man City have got the best fixture this weekend. Home, really high clean sheet percentage, really high team goals percentage, really high win percentage. You'd expect them to beat Sheffield United, even if they rotate. The other thing as well is, obviously Doku's a bit doubtful at the moment. Haaland's out. So I'm not saying it was like a huge factor in buying Alvarez because he's obviously a long-term buy, but actually this upcoming utility helped that decision a wee bit as well. So I just think of Alvarez, he's going to be a sort of key guy, and doesn't matter. It seems that no matter like who's injured or whatever, if Haaland's injured or De Bruyne's injured, he's brought into the team. He's won everything. So a really good card to have. Porto at home, so that's quite relevant if you're going with like Celtic, etc. Here the second highest sort of fixture in terms of likelihood. Porto and also Benfica quite high up there as well. I think Southampton and Leicester have double game weeks, so again, it's not. I can see why Sorare keep the game weeks pretty similar, but over Christmas and New Year, might have been an argument for splitting them up, like with the EPL thing. Like, why not just run a Boxing Day EPL contest or whatever? If you're going to run a standalone tournament, But anyway, that's what it is. Sporting, also pretty good home game. Celtic don't really feature in here, and that's because it's the only real game of the season where Celtic are playing against strongest opposition in the actual league, but at home. And again, that Leicester fixture kind of jumps out a wee bit against Huddersfield, given they've got a double game week, so you've got the sort of protection there of having the second score, etc. as well. So I have actually already picked my lineup, so that's going to be quite interesting because I was away. I didn't know when I was going to be back. So Jordi Petrovic, bit of a standout there. Trubin, quite high up. Alisson, really high projected score. Newcastle are really poor form, so I think Liverpool fixture is probably better than it looks on paper, just with Newcastle's current form and Liverpool's current form. Wesley Fofana is still injured, I think, at the moment. West Hood, so that's quite interesting, quite high up. Ricardo Pereira, Reece James just never fit. Virgil van Dijk, Ruben Diaz thinks injured. Poor result for Arsenal last night. I was pretty surprised at that, but there we go. Trent Alexander-Arnold, so all those guys all above 60. Pedro Porro, a guy on set pieces, etc. I wonder when Maddison will be back, and just be careful if you own Porro, I'd say, because then he'll be off sets. John McGinn, really high projected score at home, so that's pretty interesting. De Bruyne, I think, will be in the mix soon. Rodrigo, again, high projected score. Maddison, be good to see him back. Grealish and Foden. Saka, pretty high expected score as well. Dewsbury Hall there, so, with a double game week too. And then forward wise, Suleiman, I think, is injured. Doku, so obviously hit or miss. So Alvarez kind of highest one in terms of who I own. Mo Salah pretty high up. Nothing outrageous though, but some of these guys, sneaking into the double game week as well. Tengsted, I think, is injured as well. So anyway, we're going to take you through the lineups I've selected so far. Have a wee look through those and have a chat about them. As I said, did select them kind of when I was away. So first and foremost, I've gone for Trubin. It's like a natural selection for me. I think my other option there was Mesley, and he's suspended after being sent off. And Guardiola, I think, will most likely play, given that John Stones got injured and Diaz wasn't even in the squad. Going for a double Arsenal. I know they were poor last night, but Fulham have been pretty leaky recently. Cole Palmer should be fresh on pens. And, Luton are pretty good at home, actually, but, it's a good fixture. In terms of the Man City side of things, well, usually you would have Haaland in here. Interestingly, although Rodri is quite high here, I'll show you what I've done with him in a minute. So, going with Ederson. Diaz would usually be the normal selection, but again, not sure he's even going to play. Phil Foden, Alvarez, both been real key players recently. Could be an argument for putting them in under 23s as well, but, Champion Europe, I think Man City's got the best fixture in Champion Europe, and Bernardo Silva, who's capable of doing huge scores as well. All-Star Limited, they're going for the Liverpool stack, but I've chosen to put Rodrigo in there as well, so kind of it's a wee bit of a differential, if it does really high score. Could run Szoboszlai in here as well, but Newcastle are no mugs, so no doubt about it. So really, we'll just expect, like here, a tight game and Salah doing the business would be absolutely fine. Trent's been absolutely brilliant recently, which is quite interesting, but no real surprise given his quality. Cap 270 Limited, again, good focus on having Man City in here and obviously Celtic against Rangers. I'm going to the game as well. Me and Quinny are going, thanks to Sorare giving the tickets to Quinny, and thanks to Quinny for inviting me. Much appreciated. If you're watching this, he is going to be doing a giveaway later, I think, on Celts Are Here, so look out for that. There's a couple of tickets available to go to the game tomorrow. So Captain Grealish, I think that's pretty straightforward, although you're coming up against the Pep Roulette. Celtic, so Luis Palma, it's an obvious choice here. On the set pieces, been getting loads of decisives. I don't really fancy Celtic to keep a clean sheet. I really don't. Rangers will probably score, although Celtic did keep a clean sheet at Ibrox. I think Matt O'Reilly does pretty well against Rangers as well. I've gone with a more sort of solid midfield option with Callum McGregor rather than going for defence. And the other reason for that is because Vickers is obviously doubtful. In terms of Premier League Winter Special, again, this is an interesting one because my Man City stacks all last season cards. I do have a new season Haaland, but that's no use given he's injured. So I've gone for, sort of Everton to be tight. Pedro Porro, been doing pretty well at home. Kulusevski, I think Kulusevski's suspended. So that's a spanner in the works. So could go with Gakpo, go with Calvert-Lewin, go with Luis Diaz. I'll put in Luis Diaz in there just now. I'll need to review that. I'll probably review it afterwards. So I could move that about a wee bit. I wanted a Man City player in there, but as you see, the big stacks, etc., are going in the other competitions. The other interesting thing to see is what Sorare do with that type of competition going forward in January. Still running just now, but I mean plans wise, this is the second option. So Mark Flecken's quite a low cap option. I think he's like in the 30s. Gabriel on pretty good form recently. Szoboszlai, Son at home, and Cunha, and you can just like. That's what I find interesting with the competition. You can't just like put in a full Liverpool stack or whatever. They just don't fit it now. So that's a quick run through the limited teams. Celtic wise, well, this is the All-Star Super Rare version. I think Furuhashi tempting because he does usually get goals against Rangers. Touchwood, he's been pretty prolific against them. Going for Alistair Johnson in defence, just with Vickers being doubtful. I think he probably will make the game, but just can't be sure. And Calmac captain again, I think he'll put in good performance at home. This is one of my favourite options of the weekend. So debut for Alvarez Super Rare in here. Not debut for Alvarez Super Rare in the gallery because I did used to own him years ago before he moved to Man City. I don't really regret selling him because I made a big profit at that point, but I did miss having him. So I think that's a fairly straightforward one. Trubin and Silva got a home game, reasonably high up in terms of the projected clean sheets, etc. Foden and Alvarez, best fixture, and then Orkin Kokchu has been back, put up a really good score the last time, and the other available sort of super rare I've got there as well. Our reason for that is gone for Matt O'Reilly in here. So this is the sort of Challenger Europe Rare Plus version. So definitely some decisions to be made this weekend because in Challenger there's only one star available, $430, and then top three are paid sort of dollars. Rangers not the easiest of fixtures as well, but the decision I think is between running that in there and running the All-Star Rare Plus. Personally, I'm going to run my Liverpool stack in the All-Star Rare Plus. I just favour All-Star in general. There was a game week where I won Champion, and a lot of the EPL new cards are going to be going into Champion as well. But I think it's quite a sort of weekend that's dominated by maybe the Liverpool fixture and the Man City fixture. Man City could easily win 3 or 4-0 or whatever in that fixture and dominate, put up huge scores. So you expect some of those will be in Champion. Again, I'm struggling a wee bit for options super rare wise. So, could maybe move somebody in here, but then you're breaking up the stack. I don't see Liverpool messing about too much, I don't think. Szoboszlai got a rest last game, so I'd expect him to be back in. That's my view on it anyway. Might or might not be right. Champion Europe, again, Ederson and Akanji. Akanji is usually wee bit of a risk for Pep Roulette, but if Diaz and Stones are out, then there's not many options there. I'm sure he'll find a way of buggering everybody up. There we go. Arsenal want to bounce back after that poor result. Again, another London derby. And John McGinn in here as well, so he might be a good candidate for the captaincy, actually. Having a look at spreadsheets, pretty interesting. Highest projected score, Aston Villa at home, Aston Villa in good form, Burnley lowly down in the table as well, so could do that instead. And then that's the majority of lineups sorted out. Kind of running some other bits and pieces. Well, it's not really actually. It's just the order of them. This one I find pretty interesting as well. So I do have another Alisson, but I've used the Trent and the Virgil van Dijk with the Alisson Super Rare. Again, people say, why use a big Alisson Super Rare and not using it in the upper divisions? But there's not really any point putting them in where I don't have good cards to play with them. I don't have a full Liverpool Super Rare stack. I've only got Alisson Super Rare, so that's what it is. Say Ricardo Pereira and Dewsbury Hall with double game week, so pretty interesting. Jack Harrison been pretty good recently as well, and Matt O'Reilly, so that's what he says in the tin there as well. And the final one I'm going to highlight, I actually been able to get a Celtic stack into cap 240, so Furuhashi and Maeda are pretty low averages at the moment. Joe Hart hasn't been on brilliant form, although 2 clean sheets in a row, so it's good to see that coming back. So being able to get Matt O'Reilly in there is pretty interesting, and don't have any other options with Luis Palma at the moment. So those cards are just coming out, and I'm trying to buy them, but I do feel as if Luis Palma's limited too expensive at the moment. I mean, I got a 1 out of 1,000 for 85 quid. Somebody paid like 140 quid the other day. Scotland go on a 3-week break soon, so the game in the 21st of January or something is Bucky Thistle. So realistically, after Celtic play this game week and the next one, there's not going to be any Celtic games for at least 3 weeks. So I do feel like the Celtic cards maybe will dip a wee bit soon, which is just a natural utility type thing. But fingers crossed to say Sorare come up with some stuff to come out as well. So that's us done the lineup building. It's just short of 20 minutes. Thought maybe it would be a good idea just to have a wee bit of talk about the current state of Sorare just now. I think they made a huge mistake with this DNP stuff. Not the introduction of DNPs, but just the way they've handled it. Complete and utter shite. So there we go. Nobody can ever accuse me of being a Sorare affiliate and blowing wind up their ass and everything. It's what it is, but I just don't know why they've done it that way. I'm sure that DNPs were introduced about 1.5 to 2 years ago. They were put in and all these problems all come up and people went mental and they were taken back out again. So why they've done it again this way and just whacked them in, I don't know. It just comes across to me as a bit incompetent. If you're going to bring in DNPs, bring them in a way that's clever. Like put in the higher value ones. Don't put in all the ones that are lower value and people say, well, they're getting a low value card, but also they're getting a card who doesn't actually play, who might be harder to sell or harder to help progress in the game. So I do understand why they want to bring them into the pools and have all the prices regulated. But there's an argument for saying that there's a good reason on the flip side of things as well. So put the DMPs in, they get rewarded. I think what's so rare, I think there is that it means they won't be rewarding the top cards as much and it'll help the price of those. But for me, it's the opposite effect. The effect just now is people look at the pools and say that's shit. So then they don't want to pay money for the top cards. The best way to make the top cards valuable is to make sure that you're giving out good rewards. So there's definitely changes needed soon. The only saving grace is that Nicholas did do his French big whale thing recently, and my French is Del Boy Champs-Élysées Mon Dieu level, so I did not watch that. But people have translated it or highlighted the key points. So, he said there would be changes coming soon. I hope we do get news of that stuff soon. I'd expect it early on in January. Sorare did say that when the EPL winter competition came out, it was like season 1 and it's running to the end of January. So I'd expect there'll be other seasons of something that's happening, and I really hope they actually remember that existing users are really important as well. This sort of mad theory that will just keep driving down the prices and people will buy into that doesn't really work like that. The only way people are going to really buy in, the site's going to really properly grow now, if you can actually stabilise things. And if you look at prices of the top cards, even Bellingham, Kimmich rares and all that type of stuff, they're actually still on the decline just now. And the reason they're on the decline, it's not just because of the situation with money, it's because a lot of existing users are fucked off with Sorare. So there we go. I'm always quite pragmatic on the channel. I'm still buying in myself. I see this as a good time to get into rares, for example. It's not a brilliant time for me to buy a lot of rares because, you know, from my point of view, I've already got a lot, but I have, just show you, just saying I'm not talking complete and utter crap. I've added some super rares, so it's definitely a good time to add in some quality, and recently added in Vinicius Junior. Where are you, Vinicius? I bought Palma. That goes without saying, buying Palma. But I added this guy as well. Just think he's a fantastic price. I mean, like, the thing with rares is that even though it's quite a bad spell, I would say, for Sorare, you know, not the best financial climate overall. You've got quite a few existing users that are just deciding to take profit and they want to leave, or they're upset or don't feel as if Sorare's focused enough on them because there's the EPL competitions and it's just money for new cards and stuff. So you've got that whole dynamic there. But, you know, Vinicius Junior, etc., still 600 quid for a rare. So, you know, to me, the site is still profitable for Sorare to operate, etc., because you can still get these really quite high sums for cards, and you still got super rares and uniques, and, you know, at some point you would hope that they can actually mint nearly all of the 1,000 of the limited, and still keep them at reasonable levels. But if you're going to look to add some quality or look into rares or whatever, you're just try and get the right type of quality. You know, if you're going to buy guys that are doing 45 averages and stuff, and you just want to have a go the threshold, then that's fair enough. But what you've got to remember is that those guys aren't really that desirable or in demand. So yeah, I picked up Vinicius Junior. It's brilliant to own somebody like him. Again, I feel like that really helps. Palma we discussed before, and you know, picked up Julian Alvarez too. Again, I'm in a fortunate position because I've been winning a lot recently. So given I'm winning a lot, then I can sort of spend. But what people forget about that is I could have just taken that money out as well. That's my money, so okay, I've won it and stuff, but I could have just taken it out and been on the good side of my wife. Whereas instead, we might be bidding for Palma super rare, and I might be due for a divorce. Mon Dieu, as Del Boy would say, Mon Dieu. Anyways, I'm going to go now. So as I said earlier, Quinny's probably going to be running a giveaway for Celtic tickets on Celts Are Here later. We'll see what the time he's going to fire that up is, but keep an eye out for that if you want to maybe enter with a chance to go and see the Celtic Rangers game with us two maniacs tomorrow. And we'll leave it at that. So if you're going to be playing this game week, good luck and go fuck, and I will see you just after 7 o'clock tonight to open the podium reward for Challenger. Take it easy, everyone.